how to live a good life. And that's where I want to start. And it'd be really interesting to hear your definition of like what kind of life and way of thinking should we be aiming for?
Yeah, well, it's a hard question because my notion of human well-being is really open-ended. I don't think we understand what the horizon is, if in fact there is one, for kind of ultimate flourishing of conscious minds. We have a pretty good sense of what we don't want and are right not to want. We don't want to be terrorized and depressed and finding ourselves constantly in conflict with strangers, finding our aims frustrated. So the generic situation we want to find ourselves in more and more is to effortlessly cooperate with creative and happy strangers, right? There's 7 billion of us. We need institutions and laws and norms and ways of thinking that take the friction out of pleasurable and non-paranoid interaction with strangers. It's not just about having 5 or so close friends who have your back, right? Clearly we're all on the same team on some basic level, and if we can't figure out how to build a civilization where everyone thrives to some degree, we'll have the world we currently have until it becomes unsustainable. Because we're in a situation now where I think it's reasonable to worry that our default state of partisanship and tribalism and rational fear of the incompatible aims of other groups and other people is unsustainable in the presence of more and more destructive technology. I think we have to get our act together psychologically and socially in a way that we haven't yet.
All right, then talk to me about weakness. One of the things that I found so extraordinary about your story and how you got started with Michael Jordan is that you wrote to every player on the Chicago Bulls except Michael Jordan saying, hey, I could train you, but only Michael reached back out. Like, that to me is such a signal to what greatness is. Why, when he was already on the path to being one of the greatest players in the NBA, why do you think it was him that reached out?
Well, you just brought up the weakness point. He recognized he had a weakness. Not a flaw, he had a weakness. And he said, I must figure out how to make this weakness my strength. Now, what a lot of individuals do is they'll take their weakness and make it into their strengths, but they stop working on their strengths and they don't advance all of those things. That's a very key component there. Recognize your weakness. Recognize what you're not good at, what you're not talented at. Do you have the ability to raise that level? And there's some things most people just don't. A lot of the weaknesses you can work on, but there's some weaknesses that are just your weaknesses. Now, how do you work with those things? You find individuals around you who have your weakness is their strength. And now they can carry you or carry the team, carry the staff, whatever you need in order to still get that win. And we're so worried about hiding our weaknesses and denying the weaknesses from ourselves and from other individuals. And a lot of people won't identify them because they get very emotional. When you talk about an individual's weakness and you tell them, there becomes a lot of emotion. First time they do is, that's not my weakness. How dare you say that? They get very defensive. They get very, very defensive. And everyone says in any relationship, whether in business, personal, everybody wants the truth. They'll say, please be honest with me. Well, your weakness, when you tell somebody about their weakness and you're being honest with them, they think you're attacking them.